How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the Comic-Con podcast. This is episode 11. Milton the Manimal here, as usual, with my boy Justin, aka Nemesis Prime. What's going on, man?
Hey, what's up, Zach? I can't believe we hit 11 episodes. This is awesome.
You know, it's 11 episodes. We've been doing one a week, so obviously 11 weeks. Easy math right there. But it kind of feels like we've already been doing this longer. Is that just me, or is that you?
No, I definitely feel like it's definitely been longer. And even though you put out your Mutant Monday, I put out my Star Wars spec. Right. But it just feels like, I guess also because we've been on Lords for so long and we're always talking, not on the show. So it's definitely feel like a lot longer than, 2.5 months.
Side note on that, like always talking is, before these shows, we're talking about, what are we going to talk about today? And so we have some of our best conversations like off. Like, honestly, we should just record ourselves without knowing and then just post that. But anyway, so if you're listening right now, obviously this is episode 11 of the Comic-Con podcast. You can find us on Apple iTunes. You can find us on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Anchor FM, pretty much anywhere you look for podcasts. We also can be found on our Instagram channel, the Comic-Con podcast, which provides a link tree to our personal Instagram accounts, Nemesis Prime and Milton the Manimal. And that's usually where we promote and kind of like drop any news and stuff that we're doing with upcoming episodes. So that's where you can find us. You can also email us, which we always really, really like, to the Comic-Con podcast at gmail.com. And we love voice memos. We've been getting a bunch lately from some people. And honestly, let me just tell you, if you haven't heard yours yet, we're saving it. So we're kind of like spacing these out a little bit, kind of also theming them with what we're talking about each week. So don't worry if you sent one and you haven't heard yourself yet, we will be playing it shortly. So we also answer questions, which we have today. So what do you say? We just go ahead and start with our community section?
Yeah, absolutely, man. What do we got?
Our community section is a lot of things here. We have all the questions that people come in. This is also the section we talk about all the juicy drama that's going on in the comic book community, which is every week. And you're in luck. We have some more drama this week as well. So, but first up, we'll do a question. We got a question from Nate. His IG handle is Trial by Gods. And it says, "Hey guys, I'm enjoying catching up on the podcast, so please forgive me if this has been discussed in a prior episode. With the Marvel books having so much price momentum due to all the new MCU series, are there any DC keys that have really good value I should be purchasing now?" So I'm going to kick that one to you, Justin. You're a big DC guy. So what do you think? What are your thoughts on that?
So it depends on really what you're looking for. If you're looking for cheap books, kind of like how Marvel is, where there's, a book that's probably sitting in a $1 bin or $5 bin, and you're thinking, get it now before it spikes, or you kind of go after those older books, because I still think that the DC EU is going to come around. So for me, I would say start picking up these Justice League Dark type characters and their related series. So, last week we talked about Zatanna, and her book has just skyrocketed. It skyrocketed last year when they made the announcement that, she would be coming to HBO Max. But then with last week's AT&T Investor Day, they really showed off the picture that showed Zatanna is coming to HBO Max as a series. So that made Hawkman 4 just insane prices right now. But there's still a lot of related books for her, and I do recommend going out there and getting them. You can get like her first mini series, which was like a 4-issue back in the 80s. There's her ongoing series, Zatanna #1. There's a couple of one-shots from her. But then there's also a lot of the other characters like Deadman, the Demon. Those are the characters you really want to go after, is in my opinion, I'd say.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good suggestion. DC's tough for multiple reasons. A lot of people are just right out the gate priced out by the Golden Age first appearances. And a lot of people will play the Silver Age game, first appearance in Silver Age, and stuff like that. But the other issue with DC is, in terms of like the same thing with the MCU, is a lot of the MCU Marvel books are spiking because of the television shows and stuff. But the MCU has been so successful, we are now getting to the point of secondary, tertiary characters and little characters. DC has not had the same big screen luck that Marvel has. So we're still seeing our big name characters. That's what you're still getting. I mean, maybe you could spec on the CW stuff, but that doesn't seem to really push titles as much. You know what I mean? Like the CW titles aren't being pushed, or the CW shows aren't pushing titles as much as like say Disney Plus, correct?
Yeah. You still have Naomi. Naomi, it was definitely a book that was under ordered, not a high print run. Great writer, great artist, and I still think it's got legs to grow. She's a great character. I've talked about her in the past. I think you could still get Naomi #1s under $100 if you can find them. It'll definitely be on the wall. They're definitely not going to be in dollar bins. Did go 3 printings, so it's definitely a good book to have, because it probably, if you grade it and comes back a 9.8, once that show or trailer drops, that book's going to go up.
And something else about Naomi is Brian Michael Bendis, the creator of Naomi, has now taken over Justice League. And so she is supposed to show up in Justice League. She's going to have a larger role probably in the DC comics for a bit of time moving forward, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
It's just DC is so great, has so many great characters. But another one, okay, take this for what it's worth. The year before COVID, we saw any new Batman character that showed up, Punchline, the designer, all those characters that were popping in the Batman run, those were good specs. Now we're post Future State. We saw Miracle Molly show up. A lot of people jumped on that book. So new Batman characters, always a good quick flip, probably.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good thing to bet on too.
Yeah, definitely. There's some other characters that are coming out. You have, of course, Miracle Molly's kind of had that like cameo,
Right.
But her full first appearance. There's another new character that's coming. She kind of looks like the designer. She's, she's the
Rose or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. The Gardener, I think it is.
Gardener,
that's her name. Yeah. So, she's a new character that's coming. So, James Tynion's really introducing a lot of new characters. And even if you just get their first appearances now, maybe in a few years, they got to build up somewhere.
Right.
People are saying, oh, well, Batman's Rogues Gallery's played out. Like, all right, so that's fine. Introduce new characters, because I'm sure when these characters came out in, say, the 70s, 80s, or 90s, they weren't what they are now. They have to build up to something. So I definitely think a couple of these characters have the longevity to play around for a while.
For sure. Well, cool. Thanks for the question. We really appreciate that. And let's get into some drama. So last week we had some drama from me, and I think now we're back to you, right? So this is some Justin drama this week. We do got to have, eventually we got to have a show where we have, but it's been a while since we've just talked about someone else's drama.
Well, we do. We have 2 things tonight, but
okay.
We'll start with mine for this week. So if you guys are following me, you know that I did a mystery box, my Nemesis Prime, my 3rd mystery box, and I did an all Star Wars mystery box. I did 20 boxes, 2 grand prizes. The other 18 boxes were either 1 or 2 slabs, and the slabs were pretty much all first appearances. One, if not both of the slabs, if you got them, were first appearances. Now, somebody out there in the community got their box, was disappointed, and that person decided to, message me saying, "Oh, I'm disappointed." Did he get the worst of the boxes? Maybe he did, but the box was still worth the $200, if not more, with everything that was included. The person got a CGC 9.2 Darth Vader #4, which is like an early Ahsoka Tano appearance. Okay, yeah, it's a 9.2. It's probably only worth maybe like $30 to $40. But then he got a 9.6 Kanan #1.
Wow. Hot book.
And all these books have room to grow anyway. But and he sent me a screenshot of what these prices were selling for raw via an app, which, of course, it's Key Collector app. And I'm like, you're showing me raw data compared to a CGC. I showed him that the cheapest of the book that he had on eBay was $175, and he bought the box for $200. Then on top of that, he got 10 or 11 raw books. And even though they were just filler books, they were still raw Star Wars books that possibly have first appearances in them that can just spike for any reason because it's Star Wars.
Right.
So, you know what? I played devil's advocate. I said, you know what? Just send me back the box. I'll send you back $185 because I was like, I'm not going to eat the shipping. And he actually was like, yeah, sure. And I was like, what? I was thinking this person's just going to say, no, that's all right. Because here's the thing with this guy. He did his own his own Star Wars mystery boxes. He did 50 of them at $150 a piece. And basically what it was is he had what he called 25 or 30 of them were called Padawan boxes. Then he had Jedi Knight boxes, Jedi Master boxes, or whatever the case may be, where those were more the Padawan boxes were basically okay boxes, but then the other ones had more stuff in them that they were worth up to like $1,000. But now here's the thing. People were spending $150 on a mystery box. And I saw some people's unboxing. Some people even messaged me, and I messaged some people saying, oh, well, what did you get? And some of the people's retail value of these $150 boxes were only like $70 or $80. They got one good book. But and nobody really posted those. People were like sharing them privately, and I saw like live unboxings. But then there's these people that got the great boxes that he was posting and reposting. And it's just funny how, like, if you got a bad box, nobody was posting about it. But if you got a good box, people were like tagging him and he would repost it. So it's like, okay, yeah, you spend $150 and got like $1,000 box, but where are all these people that got all these Padawan boxes and we're getting Drek?
Well, that's the nature of these mystery boxes. You know what I mean? It's a gamble. The name says it all. You pay a price to try to win something big. It's like the raffle game. So and no one ever posts about the shitty books because you're like, oh, damn. Okay. Well, it wasn't really worth it. No reason to post about the crap I bought. I think it's outrageous that this guy asked for his money back. Like, so let me get this straight.
Ask again. Listen. And I said to him, I was like, send me the books back. I'll give you $185 because you know what? If you guys know me, I'm big on Kanan 1. And I was like, I don't mind having another Kanan 1 back in my collection when the movie or show pops and one of these characters show up, because you know, that $185 that I'm going to get back with all these books, I'm just going to probably make it double that once Ezra, Bridger, Sabine, or Hera come. So I was like, whatever, send it back to me. But I was nice about it, but I couldn't believe that the person actually accepted that he wanted to send the books back, which just blows my mind.
I'm totally tempted to, if he ever does a mystery box, to purchase one, and then when I'm unhappy, message him and request a refund and see what his answer is.
His response.
It's just it's insane, dude. And like, you're upset because you didn't win. I mean, this goes without saying. If he would have won, you know, he wouldn't have answered question or like been like, "Hey, I'm unhappy here." Yeah, no one's unhappy who wins, dude. Like but there's got to be losers because there's only a few winners. Like,
and it's not even really like, I didn't even think it was a loser's box, because again, you're getting a Kanan number 1 9.6 plus another slab plus 10 raw books. I had someone today that messaged me. They got a Darth Maul number 2 9.8, which is first appearance of Cad Bane. Everybody likes that book. Last sale, and I didn't even realize this, and the guy actually messaged me. He goes, I love the box. This is what I got. He goes, last sale was $400. My boxes were $200. So he got 1 slab and 10 raw books for $200. And his slab right now is worth $400 with no character appearance other than Clone Wars. Wow. So like, that's a win. Even if you didn't win a grand prize, like that's clearly a win. But
yeah,
it's like,
for sure.
People are obviously, I couldn't make all 20 people happy, or 18 or 19, because some people bought 2 boxes. But this is my 3rd mystery box, and this was the first time of the 3 mystery boxes that I did that someone messaged me saying they were disappointed in my box. And I knew going into it, when this person purchased the box, I knew, because he did a Star Wars mystery box, that I was going to have an issue, and I knew I did. I knew. I foresee it. I foresee it like the Force in Star Wars. I knew I was going to have an issue.
Well, next time when you do another one and he tries to purchase, you need to have like a disclaimer. Like, yo, there's no refunds this time, dude. You get what you get.
Yeah. Well, I don't think he'll buy it. So anyway, let's move on to some other drama. And this one's very interesting. I can't claim it on this, but this one I found via Instagram from I Got Issues 2319. So if you guys know a website called bleedingcool.com, which a lot of people read, I even read it sometimes for articles. If you guys know Rich Johnson, he is the founder of Bleeding Cool, and he's one of the authors that is on a lot of these articles. So he put out an article on March 10th saying, is Genlock number 6 the rarest modern day DC comic book ever? So let me kind of give you a little background, and this is also from I Got Issues. So basically, Genlock was a DC comic series that came out in late 2019 and then early 2020. It was 5 issues in, and it actually stopped via COVID. It was published, the first 5 issues was through tie-ins with the Rooster Teeth, and then it was canceled the last two issues were canceled when the pandemic shut down hit publishers and the distributors and comic shops instead. DC then published them digitally, but some of issue 6 actually got published through Diamond and actually were sold out in the UK. So, with that being said, all of a sudden, he makes this article stating that is Genlock 6 the rarest comic ever, and saying that, you know, now the comic is being sold for well over $100. Now, what's interesting about it is that he actually had a copy, and he's the person who even linked his sale copy directly in the article. So that's like me saying, go out and buy this book. Like, I'm going to tell you guys on the podcast, go out and buy this book. Oh, wait, here's the link that you can go buy it. And it's actually my copy. But here's what's funny. As I go through the I Got Issues 239's Instagram stories, prior to him making this announcement on March 10th, on March 3rd, Genlock 6 sold for $3.99. On February 28th, sold for $2.77 and $4.39. But all of a sudden, on March 11th, in a bid, because of course he posted that article, an auction went for $356.
God, dude.
But wait, that's not all. That original $3.99 that was sold on March 3rd, well, that sale was actually canceled by the seller and was reconveniently not relisted until March 12th at a buy it now of $399 or best offer. And it was accepted.
Do we know who that seller is?
Yeah, it's Rich himself.
Weird. So this is a problem, man. I mean, this is a problem in the comic book community as a whole. We see this a lot of times with, you know, look, I'm never going to pull any punches. We see this a lot with Comic Tom and Key Collector. We know that they push books and then they link and direct to their own eBay accounts. And you know what? That's fine in a way, I guess. Like, you want to make sales, whatever, but they push the books and try to make it seem like these are hot books and you need to have them for their own profit. Now, the issue is, look, man, I you know, in a way, no shame in the game, I guess, is what you should say. And the real people who are at fault here are the stupid buyers in the comic book community. Like, if you guys are listening to this, you got to think about what you're doing here. You really think Genlock 6 is going to be a book that anyone gives two shits about moving forward? Like, this guy has, you know, access to a very well-known website. He pushes his own book, links his own thing. I mean, dude, that's suspect. That is suspect as hell, bro. Like, disgusting. Yeah.
I could see us doing, let's say, something and saying, listen, here's our exclusive variant cover, wink, wink. Maybe we'll do one down the line, but you know, we'll have a link to it. It's going to be like for sale, or you know, would I post in our link tree? Would I post my eBay page or Zach's eBay page? Sure, maybe we should do that so people can see what we're selling. And you know what? If you see it and you're like, hey, I'll just contact you on the side, that's different. But we're not out here peddling issues.
Yeah, it's totally different than like saying you gotta have this book. It's so rare. It's so rare. Oh, weird. I'm selling one. Like, come on, man. I mean, there's definitely a difference. You know, yeah, as Justin said, both of us sell on eBay and we put up sales, you know, on our Instagram accounts and stuff like that. But you don't hear us going on Lords of the Long Box and being like, wow, you know, Daredevil number 28 is going to be such a hot issue. If you're looking for one, I know there's one on eBay on my eBay account. You know, like, we're not churching it up for you guys to buy it. So be careful out there as a buyer, you know. I don't know what else can be really said about that.
No, that's it. So, you know, shout out to I Got Issues 2319. Me and him talk a little bit, and, you know, he posted these in his IG story. I read it through it, and I even did my research, and I saw the article, and it's very fishy. It's a little shady, I think. So, you know, I think you guys should just be on the lookout. Don't go out and buy that book if you're really looking. If you read the article, don't spend that type of money, you know, because now all of a sudden all these issues are being sold for $100 and $200 more. I feel like he was buying them cheap and then all of a sudden wrote the article, and then now he's the one also reflipping them. You know, right. It's just very odd. Like, within a week, 2 weeks time, that a book went from like $2 between $2 and $4 to now $200+. It's just very odd.
So. Yep. So I think that's all we've got really in the drama portion of the community section. So We're going to move on to some news out there in the comic book world, and we're going to start with Justin's favorite topic, some Star Wars news. We had some pretty good news, two pretty decent stories. Why don't you walk us through those?
Yeah, absolutely. So, first one, this one is I'm telling you, man, if you guys know about Mina Mushad, he is the actor who played Aladdin in the most recent Disney movie.
Yeah, the live action. Yeah.
Yeah, and he is either trolling us Star Wars fans or he is really giving it, he's really going to be this upcoming character from Star Wars Rebels. So recently, Mena posted on his Instagram a picture with black and white, his shirt off, and all it says is, in quotes, "Hey, just so you know, when I escape, I won't hurt any of you." Now, that doesn't mean anything to you or to Zach or to I, really. It's something that you really have to go back. But that is a direct quote from Ezra when he's in captivity of the Empire in a episode of season 2 called Stealth Strike. He actually says that exact quote. So come on, is he trolling us that he's going to be Ezra Bridger, or is, what do we think? Zach, come on. What do you think on that?
Honestly, if he's trolling, he's a dick, man. But because he looks like he'd be a good fit. And, from Mandalorian, when we saw Ahsoka, when we saw the call out for Thrawn, that's exactly what you're thinking. You're like, oh man, okay, so we're tying into Rebels here. We're Sabine Wren, the hunt for Ezra Bridger. These are all characters whose stories were never finished and kind of ended on a cliffhanger. And we do know that Mandalorian is, spinning off into other series, Ahsoka being one of them. And honestly, there's no more logical storyline than that one to be covered in her solo series. So I hope, man, I would love to see it. It's another Jedi. It's another, non-Skywalker out there doing badass Jedi stuff, and I like closure. I want to know what happened to Ezra. I want to know what happened to Thrawn. I want to see Sabine Wren again. So I hope he's not trolling, because it means it's coming. You know what I mean?
So I won't ever watch Aladdin or any other movie he comes out with. He's really screwing with us.
Hashtag cancel Mina Masad.
Yeah. So, really excited about that. And some other Star Wars news that actually just got posted this week. And this is from comicbook.com. So, of course, when, Disney kind of bought out the whole Star Wars Lucas library of Star Wars, a lot of stuff became no longer canon and was termed the word legends. So what's going to happen actually coming in April is the streaming service of Disney Plus is actually going to be dropping Genndy Tartakovsky's Clone Wars. Now, if you guys remember, that was an animated series that was on Cartoon Network. They were only like 10 episodes in season 1, and then maybe like 10 to 13 episodes of season 2, but they were only like 3-minute episodes. They really focus heavily on Obi-Wan and Anakin during the Clone Wars, so it's in between episode 2 and episode 3. And he's actually the creator of the Samurai Jack series, so that's that animation style that he did. Again, it ran for like 2 years on Cartoon Network, so that's what's basically no longer considered canon, but at least for people who have never seen that, especially younger viewers, because really the only way you kind of get that is you go on YouTube and you type it in. You may get some of them, but you're not gonna get all of them. And then we have the Ewoks TV shows that, well before my time, I wouldn't say well before my time, but I'd say before my time of knowing Star Wars. They came out in the 80s, so and all those series are going to be dropping. So we have the Carnival of Courage and Ewok Adventure. You have Ewoks, The Battle for Endor, as well as the animated The Story of a Faithful Wookiee, which was in 1978. So a lot of the stuff is now going to be coming, to Disney Plus for that Star Wars stuff. And can you imagine if they actually debut the Star Wars holiday special at some point?
Yeah. It seems like a lot of these things, like, we kind of talked about this offline. This doesn't really interest me that much. And it does seem like obviously things like Ewoks and the Wookiees, those are very kid friendly type stuff, and really appealing to children and whatnot. And I'll be honest, I'm going to talk about this a bit. I've tried it. So my nephew is 5. I think he's going to be 6 in April. God, if I'm wrong, I'm a bad uncle. But He loves Marvel. You can talk to him about any MCU movie, and he's huge. I've been trying to get him into Star Wars. Unfortunately, I sat him down and had him watch Phantom Menace as the first one, which is a rough watch for pretty much anyone, you know. But I haven't been able to really get him into Star Wars yet, and I wonder. And it started to make me think, like, I wonder if that's the case with the younger generation. You know what I mean? Maybe Star Wars is harder to get into for little kids. So, I mean, if this is the case, if these episodes or these shows can kind of entice a younger generation, then, you know, I'm all for it. If I can watch Star Wars movies with my nephew, all day long. We'll do a 9-movie marathon Skywalker saga all the way through. But, you know, at the same time, I'm like, there's so much good canon stuff out there. I'm like, God, don't waste time with this other stuff. Just get to the good shit. Get to Old Republic. Come with the Acolyte show. Like, stop dicking around and get us the good stuff. So what about you? You excited about it?
Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting. And like you said, it could be a way to get in, because with Clone Wars and with Rebels, those are really the only 2 animated shows. You have the Forces of Destiny, you know, show, which was really geared around the women of Star Wars. You have the Lego Star Wars stuff that's on Disney Plus. But, you know, for the even younger kids who don't want like that action and maybe that might scare them,
right?
You get the Ewoks, or, you know, something different. Or you get the Lego Star Wars, I guess. So it's going to be fun. I definitely am going to check it out. Being a Star Wars fan, I've watched everything that's on Disney Plus at least once. Star Wars Rebels and Clone Wars at least 3 or 4 times now. Going back through season 7 of Clone Wars while I'm at the gym running on the treadmill.
Wow. Yeah, that's some dedication, man. You know, Rebels, it took me, once you get into season 2, it definitely takes off. But and then even Clone Wars, I have to jump around a bunch of episodes. So
oh yeah, same thing.
So that's it for some news there. But I kind of want to talk about 2 things real quick. You know, we're kind of light on some topics this week, but we got 2 big things that are occurring this week. We have the Zack Snyder Justice League dropping on Thursday, and we also have on Friday Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Yep.
So I wanted to talk about Justice League. I know you're super, super excited for it. Let's talk about, I think we've kind of touched on this on past episodes, but what are you hoping for the most here? Short term, long term? I mean, what are your thoughts here? Tell me what you're thinking.
You know, they've been dropping, and we've talked about this probably the past 2 weeks, they've been dropping those little like minute trailers of all the characters. And then, you know, we're recording this on March 16th, but I guess, what was it, on the 14th, on Sunday, they dropped that final trailer, which really showed off Darkseid.
Yeah.
There's some scenes in there, and we posted it on the Comic-Com's Instagram page, where you see Darkseid using his crazy eye lasers that looks like he's in Atlantis, like underwater. So I'm curious to see how much Darkseid we're really going to get. Like, the original movie was 2 hours. This is 4 hours. So you're getting 2 hours of unseen footage. Like, what are we getting? Come on.
Yeah, a lot of people, you know, think that it's going to be that basically what we're seeing on the previews are all we're going to get. I don't think so. And, you know, so I recently did a rewatch. I was like, with my girl, she hasn't seen Justice League, which works out great. She's never seen the original Justice League. So I was like, hey, let's rewatch these movies. We'll start with Man of Steel. We'll do Batman vs. Superman. And we even did Suicide Squad as well, kind of leading up to Justice League. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I like them. Like, don't get me wrong, there's bad things with each one of those movies, but on a rewatch, I very much enjoyed them. I love Henry Cavill's Superman. I thought Man of Steel is amazing. Batman vs. Superman, if you watch the Ultimate Edition, it is awesome. And it makes me really hope for, it gives me high hopes for the Zack Snyder cut, because you can see all these little like storylines that he had that really fleshed out that Batman vs. Superman and made it more of a complete movie, as opposed to the theatrical release we got, which tells me I think his version of Justice League will be the same way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Even Suicide Squad, dude. Like, we were talking about that. Suicide Squad is great. It's a great movie. The biggest problem I thought with Suicide Squad was they gave him another like world-ending like mission. You know what I mean? Like, it shouldn't be like Suicide Squad should have been. It would have been really cool to see them do like 3 or 4 missions, maybe somehow linked like to one big overarching like I don't know, enemy or something they're going on. you can't be having these characters. I mean, out of Suicide Squad, I think one character had powers, Diablo, and then they're going up against this like world-ending threat. It just didn't make any sense, man. But
yeah, I definitely hear you on that one, because it's like you have movies like The Losers, you know, even like reboots of like the A-Team, or what was the one with all like the 80s action stars? Expendables.
Expendables, yeah.
Like even that's like a Suicide Squad type storyline. Right. So it's like, how can you do that? Because that's pretty much what the Suicide Squad is for the most part. They're just like they're criminals. But yeah, you didn't need to have a world-ending thing. And you had, you know, with that movie, of course, same thing. The studio steps in and says, we don't really like this. Can you do rewrites? So it's the same thing. They want the David Ayers cut at the end of the day.
And so I actually watched Justice League. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to watch the original version.
Ooh, I don't know. I can't watch it.
So I want to be able to tell what's different. And so let's be honest. Let's call it the Joss Whedon version versus what we're going to get, the Zack Snyder version. So I watched it. I finished it this morning, and it's decent. It's not bad. I hate how they portray Batman. He's such a loser in that movie, in Joss Whedon's cut. Like when he gets like pummeled. So there's the scene that just makes eye rolling for me is when Superman comes back from the dead and he grabs Batman and he quotes Batman's comment of, "Do you bleed?" Right. And then he throws him up against the cop car. And then Batman's like, "I'm bleeding," you know, or "I'm definitely bleeding," or something. I was like, dude, you just punked out Batman. Like, it's not. Joss Whedon tried to put that Avengers humor in it. And DC's not that universe, bro.
Yeah, I was watching, like you were saying, like I watched Batman vs Superman, the Ultimate Edition, over the weekend to prepare myself for this, and just watching it is just so. And I haven't seen it in a really long time, so there was even scenes where I was like, "This feels new," but just you're right. It doesn't have that Avengers feel. Even the music, there's no like rock music that like we listen to, like from the 80s or 90s. It's just, you know, that orchestrated music. So that really sets the tone. And I think that's the thing with Zack Snyder's film, is that's really going to set the tone. Kind of just change a little bit. So IGN post, of course, there's a lot of reviews out there that are early because a lot of people have been able to see it. IGN posted a review, you know, a quick little synopsis. It just says they gave it an 8 out of 10. They said, with a mature approach to the superhero drama, better realized antagonists, and improved action, Zack Snyder's Justice League saves the movie from the dustbin of history. That right there makes me super excited. Seeing all the clips, you know, for even if you take all the trailers that have come out, that's really only maybe 5 minutes of a movie. Like, it's not a lot.
I actually read that it's also the highest scored, like he receives the highest Rotten Tomatoes score that he's ever received on any of his movies, the Snyder cut. So, you know, my hope is, this might be far gone hope, but my hope is it does so well that they bring back the DCEU. Like, we know we're getting Flash. Aquaman was done well. We both were a little disappointed, I think, with Wonder Woman 2, but those characters are still there. I mean, we can still do, you know, the Justice League movies, you know?
Yeah, well, again, what we talked about last week at the AT&T Investors Day, you know, they showed off what they have planned for the future. You have Suicide Squad, you have Black Adam that's going to be filming soon, Shazam, Flash, Aquaman 2, and then you have all these series that are coming to HBO Max. So, and then everything that's already still in production, you have Titan season 3, Doom Patrol, hopefully season 3,
Batgirl,
the Batgirl stuff, Peacemaker, the Suicide Squad movie. But, you know, like you said, I think this has to do extremely well for people to be like, okay, we messed up. We, you know, and people, you know what the problem is? There's a lot of haters out there.
Oh, for sure.
But I bet you a lot of people don't realize what happened. Like, Zack Snyder left because of a personal issue where someone committed suicide.
Yeah, his daughter died.
Yeah. Like, and Whedon they had to bring in someone. They said, all right, well, look what Whedon did. He did, you know, Buffy stuff. He did the Marvel stuff. So it's like, all right, well, he's done these big things. Let's bring this guy in. But, you know, and there's all these Zack Snyder haters. Dude, it's not his fault that movie became what it was. Like, I loved Man of Steel. You said you loved Man of Steel.
Loved it.
Zack, you know, Batman vs Superman, didn't like that version because, again, the studio steps in and says, let's cut this, and then the Ultimate comes out and it's like, wow, this is such a better movie.
I think, yeah, and I think obviously the DC movies struggle and they have a hard time being put up against the MCU, you know,
Mhm.
and I think people just need to realize Marvel and DC are totally different.
Mhm.
DC is more adult. I mean, it really is. It's darker. That's just the feel DC has always had in the comics, and I think it should be true to that. Like when I see people like, oh, well, Marvel movies are so much better because they're funny and da 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 da, and that's fine, dude. Like, don't get me wrong, I love the Marvel movies, and I'm more of a Marvel than DC guy, but you cannot take that standard and try to push it on the DC stuff. You just
Mhm.
can't. It's not the same. So
So here's a question, because I'm sure it was a mature movie. I thought it was very well done. What did you think of Aquaman? Because you and I have never really talked about this. What have you thought about Aquaman, the movie?
you know, I think I've only seen it once. My girl hasn't watched that one either yet. So once
Okay.
Justice League comes out, we're gonna watch Aquaman. You know,
Okay.
I remember liking it. I think I'm trying to remember, man. I've only seen it once. I don't remember being like blown away by it. I thought it
Okay.
was cool. I think I liked it because I'd never seen Aquaman
Yeah.
on his own movie, and that alone is enough for me. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? So it was good, dude. And I like Momoa. I like his take on Aquaman.
Yeah, I
I
think
like
definitely now you need to watch Justice League this week, and then next week or in a couple of weeks, definitely watch Aquaman with her, and then you and I'll get back and talk about this one.
so I'm assuming your opinion is not high. And I
Oh,
think I
no,
would
it is. No, I
oh,
loved it. I
okay.
think everybody that was cast in that movie was perfect. I think Momoa is perfect. I think Amber Heard as Mira is perfect.
I love Ocean
Um,
Master.
Ocean Master, Black Manta. I think all those characters brought to life the way they looked, the way they acted it was, to me, it was an almost perfect, you know, comic to film. Not
Yeah,
saying that the film is perfect, but
right.
the characters and just the
Adaptation.
storyline was good. I'm not saying it's not 100%. Like, I don't think it's the top DC movie, but I would say it's probably my top 3 in the DCEU.
Mhm. I definitely remember I like it better than Wonder Woman too. That's for
Oh,
sure.
yeah. Well,
Yeah,
I guess,
Wonder
yeah, we're
Woman.
gonna have to talk about this on
Yeah.
another episode. I need you to see. I need you to see it again, and then we're gonna talk about it.
So then real quick, and we know we kind of talked about this also, but since it's this week, we got Falcon and Winter Soldier. And I know we
Mhm.
talked about like our biggest hopes for this. I think we might have talked about it on Lords also, whether we thought this is going to be a spec-filled type show. Is it the spy thriller? I mean, what are you hoping for the most out of this one? I'm interested to hear your take because you're not as much of a Marvel guy. So like, what
Yeah.
are you really hoping for and looking for here?
I mean, I don't really want to push too much of what we spoke about last week. I
Mhm.
just want to see the action.
Cool.
I really want to see, I definitely, again, like you said, I don't want this to be a spec show every episode. And I know people are already buying up some books. I've seen people posting them on Instagram, and I'm sure over the next 8 to 10 weeks, we probably should just keep a list of books that show up on Lords of the Long Box top 10 and on the cover price, and literally just at the end of the show be like, are these characters going to be in the future of the MCU?
Right. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, so Justin brings up a good point though. We did talk about this. So listen to last week's episode if you haven't, and you can hear about kind of our more in-depth thoughts on Falcon and Winter Soldier and what we're looking for. I definitely have some things I want to occur in this show, but I'm pumped. I'm really excited, and I'm super. I think the thing I'm happiest about was there were only 1 week off in between WandaVision and Falcon and Winter Soldier. We're not waiting months. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
So there's been such a dry spell, so it's good that it's kind of it's going.
Oh,
So
and here's it. I don't know. Did you watch the making of WandaVision assembling? Did you
no,
watch that? Okay, so I'll quickly talk about it then. I watched, it was an hour, it was an hour long. They talk about the entire series and how it's filmed, how they did the 50s, 60s, 70s, and everything, how they did the sets, just so much of the background, how they created the music and the characters, this and that. I'm going to tell you this. I enjoyed watching the 1 hour special than the entire series. I'm dead serious. Like, and I know people out there are going to hate me for saying that, but watching the 1 hour series was just like really cool to listen to, just how they did, how they created the stuff. They went back to old people that were, they went back to like Dick Van Dyke, that's era, and like how they filmed it. They filmed it in front of a live studio audience. They did it like a play where everything was done and then switched out. And listening to Olsen and Paul like talk about the characters and how they did it was exactly like a play, not like a movie or normal TV show. Like it was different for them, and that really made me like it. But I'm not gonna go back and watch this series. I'll probably if I ever watch this series, I'll watch like the last 2 or 3
Right,
episodes.
for sure, for
Like
sure.
it's not something I can sit through another 8 episodes again.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, so let's get into our final topic that we always kind of conclude our shows with, and that is what we're currently reading. So you want to start off?
Yeah. So this week, of course, you know, we talk about it. The future state's done on the DC side. I got my books a day early, so I read Justice League number 59 today. But that book is kind of, you know, we kind of talked about this earlier, where you know it's a new deal. You know, you got Brian Michael Bendis writing it. You got David Marquez doing the art in it. And of course, you have the new characters that are kind of being brought in for the Justice League. They're teased a little bit. But this first issue number 59, kind of revolves around this new character, Brutus. And of course, I'm not going to spoil it for you other than, you know, the character. But I kind of went back and read Naomi because, of course, she's coming to the Justice League. And we talked about this. So I went back and read Naomi 1 through 6. You know, of course, Bendis did that as well. So, and of Jamal Campbell's art, I forgot. I know how good it is reading Far Sector, but I forgot how great it was when he first did Naomi. And you know, not to take anything away from, you know, Bendis's writing, because I think he's really building something for this now. So, you know, he did the Naomi thing, he did Superman, and now he's doing this. I really think he's building towards something.
She was in Young Justice also.
And he did Young Justice. But you know, between then, you know, of course, with Bendis writing it and Campbell's art, and it's just amazing to look at. So I went back, I read 1 through 6. So what am I currently reading is I'm currently reading the Naomi series again, because, you know, I liked the series. I like the origin story. Bendis said she would come back for Naomi 2 at the end of the issue number 6. So you guys can go out there, get that trade, or if you can find them online. Like I said, the number 1 is definitely going to be a wall book. It did go to a few printings. 2 through 6, you should be able to pick up them in either first prints, if not second prints. And they're pretty much, you know, I'd say under $10 a piece.
Nice.
So, what about you? What are you currently reading?
So the book that I'm talking about this week, I had a pretty light week. I was actually able to pick up my books today, so could talk about the books that came out this week, but there was nothing really there that was super, super awesome to me. But I really enjoyed last week's book, and obviously it was number 1 on our cover price top 10 as well for Lords of the Longbox, and that's Nottingham number 1. And man, I really, really enjoyed this. You read this one also, right?
Yes. Yeah, I read it. I actually, surprisingly, you know, we talk about this. There's a lot more shops in my area, but not all my shops get a lot of this indie stuff.
Oh yeah, me
only
neither.
One shop that I went to on a Wednesday actually had this book. So
I got really lucky with this one. So this is done by, you know, Mad Cave Comics. So I mean, it's not like your big indie distributors either, or publishers. I'm sorry. So it's really cool. It's obviously a Robin Hood type story. It's a little bit I heard someone describe it as noir. I don't know if I would use noir as the term I would do. It's very adult. It's violent. There's lots of blood. There's a lot of sexual innuendos. But I mean, it's right up there, in my opinion, with like Once and Future is what it felt like to me, except Robin Hood, you know? So, yeah. And I love King Arthur. I love Robin Hood storylines. I mean, this is right up my alley, man. I really, really enjoyed it. The art was pretty cool too. Like, I mean, it's nothing to, you know, write home about, but I felt like it moved the story. I felt like it fit the story as well. We get a lot of like mainstay Robin Hood characters named in this book, and man, I enjoyed it. If you can get your hands on this book, definitely do. If you can't, try to read it online or something, but I really, really enjoyed it, and I'm definitely looking forward to this moving forward.
It's very, very violent, right? Very bloody, vulgar as well, I should say. That's
lots of F words. Yeah.
There's definitely some good stuff going on, and I'm excited to see where it's going to go after issue 1.
Yeah, it has a really cool feel to it. So definitely check that out. That's Nottingham by David Hazan. I'm not sure how you pronounce that. But yeah, Mad Cave Comics. So
nice.
So cool. I think that's all we got this week. Obviously, like Justin said, we're recording this a little early because of a busy week coming forward. I know next week I will not be around. I think Justin might have a special guest possibly to come on. It'd probably be a very Justice League-esque.
Yeah, I'm either going to, well, it's definitely going to be Justice League driven. If I get someone to come on with me, it's definitely going to be someone who really enjoys DC, because I'm not going to get them. I'm not going to get a Zack Snyder hater or a Marvel lover. I need someone who's going to, know the characters and really enjoyed the movie, or they may hate the movie, but at least I know they know DC. So it's going to be fun to listen to.
And I'm sure I'm going to watch it Thursday as well. And you and I will talk, and I'll give you my 2 cents that you can put forward as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
But so that's all we got this week. Like we told you earlier, you can find us on Apple iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Anchor FM. You can also catch us on our Instagram accounts, the Comic-Con Podcast, Milton the Manimal, Nemesis Prime. And of course, you can send us any questions or voice memos to the Comic-Con Podcast at gmail.com. So we drop podcast every week. We occasionally do some bonus content, which we haven't done in a while. A couple busy weeks coming up, but I'll probably try to get something together here soon. I'm sure you're about due for some Star Wars spec also.
Yeah, I got one. I definitely have one I've been working on, just reading a little bit more, and I think it'll be a good one. And it's definitely a cheap key to get out there and buy before any news of an upcoming movie comes out. So,
and like always, if you have any ideas, some little bonus 15-minute episodes you want us to do, shoot us an email, give us an idea, and we can try to tackle those. So
yeah.
So that's all we got this week. Thanks everyone for listening in, and we will catch you next time.
Peace out.
Comic-Con Podcast. Later.